Welcome again to the meeting. We're being recorded, and this is Google Classroom. So starting with Google Classroom, I'm just going to go through a certain number of things that I have made notes for myself, and we'll start now. So I'm going to start in my launch page. I'm going to share my screen with you, of course, before I start. All right, just waiting for it to share. And we're up. All right. So on my launch page, going to my Google Classroom, and again, the level, I'm pretty sure everybody is in Google Classroom now. But what you're going to see when it comes up here, I have a lot of Google Classrooms that I'm in. I'm the teacher in some of them, and I'm the student in some others. When you want to join a Google Classroom, you're going to hit the plus button at the top. If it's the first time you're going in, it's going to ask you whether you're a teacher or a student. And if you're teachers, which you all are, you want to make sure that you say that you're a teacher, not a student, even if you're joining somebody else's classroom as a student. The students only have join a class option there. We have join and create a class. So we'll work from there. So I'm going to start with my first class here. Show you this one as an example. I'm going to go to the settings cog. So this is where all of your class details are and the majority of things that you want to do here. One of the things that I suggest that you do, especially if you're going to be using Classroom year after year after year, that in the section or in the class description, you are going to put the year in. So I'm going to be showing you how to archive your old classes. So you really do want to have a different number on each of them. So we can do that. The invite codes for the students, if you have the students in front of you with their Chromebooks on, it's very easy just to show an invite code as opposed to finding their emails and adding them that way. So you can turn it on or turn it off, but you also can reset it. So I'm just going to display mine. This is a pretty good one. I like it. No bad numbers or letters in it, no bad words in it. So if you have one that has ones or zeros and O's and L's, those are kind of hard to deal with. So you can reset your class code before your students start. So you can see mine changed. So this one, I don't know if that's an L or a 1, so it's probably not a good one. So you can play with that and reset them to do whichever one you want and display it on the board. Then we can talk about the stream, the options for the stream. Here, it is going to default to students can post and comment. Now, that might be great when you're starting. If you're wanting to teach your students digital manners, you may want to leave students can post and comment on. If anything inappropriate was ever posted by a student, or if a parent messaged you on their student's account, you can delete it, and you can see that even after deleting it, you can click this button and show the deleted items. So if there was something that you wanted to show the administration or show the parent, you can bring a comment back to that stream. I usually used students, only teachers can post and comment, but that is up to you, of course. The Guardian summaries are sent out only if you want them to. You can click this on. You would have to add the parent emails in under the People tab, and I will show you that in a moment. Another thing that you may see, and you may not have on yours yet, is a Google Meet link. So this is new this year. There is a Meet link that's connected directly to your classroom, and you will see that on the main page, and you can turn it off if you want, or you can turn it back on. And that would be the place where the students can meet with you. You can, in the stream, advise them at what time you're going to have a Google Meet, and you have to be in first. The students can't get into the Meet without you, but I do suggest that you make sure the students all leave the Meet before you leave. Otherwise, they can stay on. The grading part, I haven't used this. I do believe it's pretty underdeveloped. I think that, yes, we can get our marks, but we're transferring everything into PT Pro anyway, so I think that that's okay to leave as is. So after you've done those main class settings, you're just going to press save. So the next thing that you can change, and this is actually another place to see the class code, is here. And if you do not have a Meet link already there, that is where you would set up the Meet link for your students. It says generate Meet link right here. I'm realizing that I don't think you are seeing my mouse for some reason. I have another computer going here and I'm not seeing the mouse. I'm going to stop sharing for a moment because it's much easier to see when you can see my mouse. I'm going to try to share a different way. Hopefully this one will work. No. Oh, yeah. I think you're seeing my mouse now. I'm going to go to a different classroom. So before I show you about changing the theme, I want to show you about the 3 lines, which I like to call the hamburger over on the left-hand side. If you click that, you can hit classes and you will get back to all of the classes that you have there. So I talked about archiving a class, so I want to show you how you would do that before we really get into Google Classroom itself. So let's say I want to archive this 3D printer one. I'm going to right-click on the 3 small dots that are here, and I hit archive. That means it's just going to be saved. It gives you all the directions of what's happening. You hit archive, and it's no longer on this main grid of all of the classrooms that you have. However, you can find it if you hit the hamburger again and scroll all the way to the bottom. Again, I have a lot of classrooms. You can see archived classes here. You can click on it and you can restore it. So it's over here. I can right click and restore it. I can also copy an old class. So if you had a beautiful class that you created last year and you want to use all those assignments again that are already connected, then you could copy the class. And when it tells you, it will tell you about what you're going to copy. It's not going to copy the stream over again. It will put all of the assignments in as drafts, and then you can set the due date for when you want to post all those things again. So that's a really neat thing to do. So I'm just going to hit restore. It is a good idea, especially for the younger students. It's a good idea if the teachers do restore, archive the classes, because their grid will fill up also. And I'm not sure if you really want them to be able to continue to go into that and still be able to do things in there. It's probably best to archive the class with the students from the previous year. Okay, another couple of things on this grid just to show you. You can put them in order, so you can drag these and change the order of them. So that's one thing that you can do. You have a few things here. You have a to-do button, and that to-do button would be what the students would have also. That is there because I am a student in some of the classes that here, because we're sharing kind of things, or if I was invited into somebody else's classroom, that to-do would tell me things or list things that I have assigned to me. The to-review is a great one. So I can go to all my classes or a specific class and click on it, and I could see all of the assignments that I've given to my students. I can see some that have been turned in, ones that I've not graded, ones that so just you get lots of information all in one spot here. If you click on any of these, so if I click on Winter Quiz 2 that are turned in, if I press the Control or the Command button on my keyboard and click it, you'll notice that a tab opened right beside my classroom, and it will take me directly to that quiz where the 2 people turned them in, and I can see them. So that's a nice little option to be able to see what's going on. Again, back to the hamburger. The calendar is there also. You can see all of the things that are listed for all the classes or just specific classes if that's what's interesting you. I have a lot of fake classrooms here for demonstrative purposes, so There's an example of that. So back to a class. I'm going to choose this one this time. So in this one, I want to start off by, again, I can go into my settings, do all of the kind of things that I said to you before. But what I'm interested in doing right now is changing my theme. So if I don't like this picture or color, I can do select theme and change anything I want. There's lots of different options here. However, also you can also click upload photo. So you could take a snapshot of any photo you like, or you could create one with a Google slide. So I'm going to show you a Google slide that I've done. And I did it right here. Let's see. Yep. So I did this. So this was pretty easy to do. I simply changed the size of my slide, and I did that by hitting File and down to Page Setup. So it gives you the option of changing these sizes. I hit Custom, and the 16.67 by 4.17 inches, I looked that up to see how big the banner was, and you can create the banner for the exact right size. So you can hit Apply there. And the next thing I did is just did things like change the color of the background. I could choose my own image if I want there. Anything that you'd like. You can add any kind of text, which I did. This is just a text box with changing the words, the font, the size of the font. I pulled in some shapes for my stars, anything at all that you want, so you can pull in. So once you do that, and a lot of people like the Bitmojis. So you saw in my other example of my classroom that I did a Bitmoji for my cartwheel. Well, with my cartwheel, I did a lot of slides. So it was pretty much a stop motion slideshow as I'm moving the little Bitmoji person bit by bit on the number of slides. So after that, after you have your slide ready, you're just going to go File, and you're going to go Download as a JPEG image. So that will put the image of this slide onto your computer. And you can, so I won't do that because I've already done it. If I go back to my class, I can now go Upload Photo, select photo from your computer, and you can find it. Now I'm on a Mac, so it's a little bit different than what you see. And open, it will let you resize it a little bit, as much as you want, and it will change your theme for you. And there we go. Now you will notice that it is grayed out. There's nothing we can do about that. That is just a thing that Google has because these words are written on top of your picture. So that's what's making it foggy. I'm just checking. I continue to check the chat. If you guys have any specific questions as we're going, or if you missed something and want me to revisit it, you can make sure that you do that in the chat. All right, one thing that I've missed in the settings that I wanted to talk about is what I am seeing. Yes, Juanita, I just opened a new slideshow to create that banner for myself and just made a picture. Okay, so right here, you're seeing my stream. So the stream is where you're going to put all the information for your students. The students, I do believe, get an email when you do something in the stream also. So it's basically the news feed for your class. You'll notice that I have large boxes here. That doesn't default to those large boxes. So the one last thing I wanted to show you in settings is right here under classwork on the stream. The drop-down says show attachments and details, show condensed notifications, or hide notifications. So I'm just going to click show condensed notifications for now so you can see what that looks like. So here we are, and see how it's quite small, and for me to be able to see it, I have to click on it. Oh, I clicked on the wrong thing, sorry. I would have to click to view to view it. Well, no, that was the right thing. I click to view the actual work that I'm looking for. So we would like the students to be able to see more clearly. The students are going to get the same kind of just small notification, and I think it is much clearer for the students to see if they can see the whole large notification, because they can actually see the attachments that you put there, and they will know, oh, that's much more clearly an assignment that the teacher has assigned to me here, so they can see that much more easily. Again, just a suggestion there. So in the stream, just as anything, when I do make an announcement, I can make an announcement for multiple classes if I want. It will default to just the classroom that I'm in. But you also can send information out to just particular students. So that's kind of great if you're trying to differentiate instruction. Or you want to meet a certain number of students on a Google Meet, and you want them to click the Meet link above, kind of thing, if you go to announce something. If you uncheck all students and just check a couple of students and write, please meet me with the Google Meet above at 1 p.m. on Tuesday afternoon. It would be a good way to be able to do some small group instruction and not have the whole class on a Google Meet at one time. So that's an option, or just even sending specific resources to students. You can add any resources from your Google Drive there, or from different places, your computer, or link if you needed to give them extra work or extra anything. Okay, so that is your stream. The next thing I'm going to look at is the classwork, and this really is the bread and butter of your Google Classroom. Okay, hoping things aren't going to slow down here. So with this, kind of the more organized you are, the better. Things will default to being in order. You can drag them, I believe. Yeah, you can drag these if you want to. Or you can create topics. So you can see I have some topics created along the side, but I have to scroll all the way down to be able to see the topics. So the students, depending on your grade level, it might be if you were in grades 4 to 6, maybe you do want to have it by topic if you're teaching your students multiple topics. Or if you're a high school or middle school, high school teacher, you may want it to be by chapters. So you'd create chapter 1, chapter 2 topics, and you do that right here under the create topic. You may have week 1, week 2, and so on. So that is up to you for the organization. Some teachers like to create a topic like resources. So if you have maybe your communication plan, you want to just post that under resources. If you have a couple of chapters that you need to show in the book, you might put that under a resource topic. So again, that's up to you, but the more organized you are, the better. So next we're going to look at the create assignment. So we have two options here. I'm just going to go through each of them before I go back to each of them individually. So the first one is assignment. An assignment is something that you are expecting the students to return to you. They are going to do something, and there's an option for giving a grade on that. Quiz assignment is similar. It is also something that the students are going to do for you, but in particular, it is a Google form that is automatically created. And all it does, not that you can't put a Google form attached to an assignment, all it does is it defaults your Google form to becoming a quiz. So it's not much different. You could do it in either place, but it's specifically a Google form that is automatically made for you. A question is a question. It's similar to one question in a Google form. You ask the students one question. You can actually show them the summary of the answers. You can check the box or uncheck the box. You add something here. You don't have the option to share a document. Well, you can share a document, but you can't let or create a document for each student to work on their own. You also can reuse the posts. Okay, so again, I'm just going to start with one of these. I'm going to show you material. So I want to show you if it says material here, and I go and I can add from my drive, or I can create a doc. So I'm going to create a doc, and it creates it right here. You will notice it very quickly opened a new tab right beside my classroom tab, and I could name it and so on. And I'm going to pop back to my classroom for a second. You will notice that there are no options here. All it is going to do is send this document as viewable to your students, and that's it. So that is material. Nothing is expected back from the students. And again, you can send it to all students or particular students if you want. In comparison, I could create an assignment. When I do the same thing creating an assignment, you can see, I'm just going to say assignment number 1 here. Again, instructions can be added. So I'm going to create an assignment this time as a doc. So when it is assignment at the top, again, it opened a new tab for me. I do all the assignment. Go ahead, put the assignment down. Actually, my assignment's going to say insert a pic of your work. And I'll just leave it called that. Go back to my classroom. When it's an assignment, you have 3 options for anything that you add here. Students can view the file. If students could view the file, I probably wouldn't bother putting it in an assignment unless it's something else that you want them to read before they do their assignment. So you still could choose students can view a file. Students can edit a file. If you give them that, they're all going to be working on the same one document. You would want to choose make a copy for each student if they were going to be able to work on this document. So there it is. Now again, if you only want to send it to certain students, you can. You can assign it to more than one class if you want. You can change the grade level here if you want, or sorry, the points if you want. You can decide to give a due date or not. For the younger students, due dates probably aren't great, but when you start getting up into middle school and to high school, you absolutely would want to put a due date on this kind of thing, and even a time. And again, you can choose your topic here if you've already have them, or you can create a topic right now if you want to. So I'm going to do that. Also, there's an option of adding a rubric, which you would make that rubric up yourself in maybe a Google Sheet so that the students could see what the rubric is. It's just you're adding on that rubric. Before we assign it, maybe you're not finished. You might want to just save it as a draft. You could schedule it. So maybe you're working in the evening and you don't want to send it out until the next morning. You could schedule it, or you can assign it right away. So I'm going to show it as being assigned right away. Hopefully. Yep, there we go. Okay, so it's gone through. Now I'm going to just pop over to being a student for a second and see what it looks like from the student's point of view. All right. So here I am in my classroom as a student, so I can see things that looks a little bit different. I'm going to just update this. There we go. So it looks a little bit different. It sees things that are to be assigned. I have some things that are missing. I can see what I've turned in and so on. I'm going to open up this assignment. I can do that here, or I can do it in classwork. So the student can click on their assignment here, or they can go to classwork and click on it here. When they open it up here, there's 2 things, 2 different views that they're going to see. They can click directly to the document, and this is going to be something similar for you when you're looking at the student's work, or you can view the full assignment and turn it in. So a couple of different options that they're going to do. I'm going to click View Assignment so you can see what that looks like. So when they do that, this is where they're going to find their assignment. They could add a separate document there if you want, and this is where they can show it's turned in. So I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to try to get a nice picture of something. So let's say that the teacher asked me to insert a picture of my work. So let's say I was doing some math work, or I was drawing something. I was drawing the water cycle or something like that, and I did my work on a piece of paper with pencil. So, and one thing before I mention it, you can see that it renamed the document with the student's name. So my fake student's name is CBV. You can see it's named there. So if you want to insert a document, and I do have a video on this also, the student is just going to click down so that they're in a spot. They're going to go insert, and I'm hoping my camera is going to work. I'm not sure if it's going to because my camera is officially being used on the Google Meet, but we'll see what happens here. If they go insert image, they can get to their Chromebook camera. So I'm going to do this, see if my camera actually turns on. Okay, so I have the problem as my camera is not going to work because it is being used in the Google Meet. So what would happen is you would snap this camera icon right here, and it would snap the picture. The student would hold the work up in front of their camera, and then you would click insert. So I don't have the option to show that right now, but I'll show you another one that I did without my Google Meet camera being on. So I'll just go cancel for now. So once a student is done, they could press turn in if they're finished. I'm not going to press turn in because I want to show you what it looks like even if they didn't turn it in. So I'm just going to right pick here so you can see that as a student, I just inserted something. I'm going to go back to being a teacher. So a couple of ways to get, there we go. A couple of ways to get back to your assignment is through here. So I can double click, I can click assignment 1. Once again, if I click this, I'm going to go back to my document that I created. If I click view assignment, I'm going to see the student's assignment. And before I go on, I want to remind you of one thing, or you may not know this. We are so used to being able to change Google Docs and slides and sheets after the fact. But once you pressed make a copy for each student, it's like a snapshot in time. Any changes that you make do not show up on the student version. So if I went back to my document and started to write other things in here, the student is not going to see it. They get that original version that you sent. So make sure your original version is right. If it's not right and you need to change it, you can go up to the 3 dots, say delete. You'd have to delete. You can't even edit it because you can't resend it again. You only have one chance to make a copy for each student. So you would actually have to delete the assignment and start over again. So just a little heads up on that one. So what I'm going to do is not hit here to go back to my document. I want to hit the view assignment so I can see everybody's. So this takes me to this view where everyone in my class has a document. It was all named automatically for them with their names. 0 are turned in, but I'm going to click on CBVs to show you that even though CBV didn't turn it in, I can still see their work, and I can still see that they're actually working on it right now. So that's kind of neat that you can do that. In this view also, you can, over on the right-hand side, write a private comment. So you can talk back and forth with the student on the document if you want. And that's just kind of an overall comment. Or you can click within the document itself, and you have another button up here, hoping again you can see my mouse. Another little tiny one that it looks like a comment box. You can click on that and you can add a comment anywhere you want on the document. So if they really had a paragraph written there, you can choose a word, or you can highlight a word or highlight a whole paragraph and make a comment, to the students, and it goes there. So just pop back to the students for a second. So even though I'm not grading it, even though they've not turned it in, I can still make a comment, and they can see it immediately when I do that. Okay, back to teacher view. So when I'm here, you will notice I'm up at my tabs. My classroom is here. If I went back to my classroom and opened up the next person, it's going to open yet another tab and another tab and another tab. So the other option here is that you have a little scroll bar at the top. Again, I'm trying to move my mouse around so it's noticeable. And you can go to the next person, the next student when you're doing it. Now, I'm noticing when I do that, I'm only seeing CBV's work because they were the only one that actually worked on it. So when I went to the next person, I'm not seeing, oh, there it is, it popped up. Okay, sorry. There it is. So you can see their work as they're going. And then your classroom is back at the other tab. Now I want to talk about the difference between Google, Juanita, for private comments, do they save to be seen at a later time by the student? I think they all stay listed there. I'm quite sure they all stay listed for the student. Yeah. Okay, so in this view, I want you to take note of the fact that this was a Google Doc, and a Google slide would be the same, and a Google Sheet would be the same, and I can click on any one of these and it will open up and show me that person's work. I'm going to talk about Google Forms. Google Forms are different, so that therefore the quiz assignment is different. So we're going to go back and we're going to start a quiz instead. So back to my main classroom. Going back to my classwork, and I'm going to create a new assignment, and it's going to be a quiz assignment this time. So in this quiz assignment, I'm just going to call it quiz. Okay, so I'm going to call it quiz. And again, I could do the instructions. Take note, it automatically opened a blank quiz below. I'm just going to close a few of my tabs that I have up here. Okay, so I can see that a quiz form, a Google form is created automatically. I can see that I can turn on and off this grade importing. So I'm going to turn grade importing on. You will notice that it helps you out with a couple of the defaults. It says Classroom can import grades for assignments. It's only going to limit to one response per user, collect email addresses, and restricts to users in your domain, which would be GNSPES for us. So, but we still have control over all of those things. Even if we didn't do it, it's just kind of a reminder of what to do. When I want to create my quiz, I click on this blank quiz. And this is actually, I was going to say, a whole other session. So I will kind of go through this. I'm not going to go through all of this. And I do have a video linked in the professional development sheet for this. But I just wanted to show you the very specific thing in the classroom. So again, you can name this. You can ask a question. And I'm just going to say question 1, and notice that you have many choices. You could do short answer, paragraph, multiple choice, and so on. I'm going to just leave it at multiple choice for now, and I'm just going to put in A's and B's to show you. Okay, so you will notice this answer key down the bottom. Answer key is there because we've turned on the fact that this is a quiz. That won't be there if your blank quiz isn't a quiz. So if you had just have an old Google form or an old quiz on a form, you want to make sure that you go up to your settings. And I like to say, collect my email addresses. I like to limit to one response. I don't want my students to edit after submit. I'm going to skip this presentation one. I'm going to go over to the quizzes, calling it let's say, calling it a quiz or creating the quiz as a quiz assignment automatically turn this on for you. The other thing that I would do is I would take off immediately after each submission. If you're actually doing a real quiz for your students, I wouldn't want them to have the answers right away. And some of your answers may not be, so Google Quizzes will correct the multiple choice for you and can correct the short answers for you, but it can't correct the long answers, obviously. So I would say later after manual review that they would be able to, that I will release the grade after that. The other thing I would turn off is these things. I don't want the students to know when they got their answer wrong. If it's a real quiz, I don't want them to see the real answer, or well, actually, the correct answers you could leave on there. They will see the correct answers only after the grades are released, but I would turn that one off, and I like them to see the point values. So I'm going to save that, but I'm going to go back one more time just to that presentation mode. I'm going to talk about your questions. You can do a double shuffle on your quizzes. So again, if it's a real quiz and you don't want the students telling each other what the answers are, you can shuffle the question order. That means it's going to shuffle question 1, question 2, question 3, question 4. So it can do that there in presentation. But the 3 dots down on the right-hand side, where I would put required, you can also shuffle the order within the question. So that would mean it would shuffle the A, B, C, D within the question itself. So you can do a double shuffle so that the students can't say, what did you get for number 2? It's just a thought that you might like to use. Okay, so I'm going to show you one more thing. I'm just going to add one more question. Actually, you can do sections here. Again, it would probably be best to watch the other video. We would be much too long if I went through everything about quizzes here. I'm going to add one more question. You can add a picture within a question. So just so you know that you can do that. If you had a graph or an image and you want the students to describe something or answer it, you can add the question there. If you add a paragraph question, I would say it was required, and even though there's not really an answer key that you're going to do there, I would still put the point value in. So maybe the paragraph question is worth 4 points, and the multiple choice question, oh, I didn't do that. The multiple choice question is worth 1. So you'll notice that when I want to get in and look at the question, I have to click on the question to kind of get it open to be editable again. Now, most things you have to send, but you're not going to send this. You don't have to put the student's email in. Classroom is going to take care of that for you. So I'm going to just leave my questions here. I'm going to go back. Actually, I can even close this. I'm going to go back to my classwork where I started this whole thing, and I'm going to press assign. I'm going to make it worth 5 points before I go. 5 points, and I'm going to press assign. So it's gone out to the students. So here is the difference. When I now go to the quiz and I go view assignment, so hopefully you're still with me here. Unlike what I was doing when it was a document that I had given to each student, I can't click on these because a Google form is completely different than a Google document or a Google slide or a Google sheet. It's going to maintain all the answers within the form itself. So you don't have this option, but you would reopen your form and you will see that it just looks like the questions that I've done, but I have a little tiny edit button down on the right-hand side. I click that to open it up in the editable view again. And my responses, the students' responses, are going to be over here. So you can see that it says waiting for responses. So I'm going to go back out for a moment. I'm going to go to my student again and go back to my students' classwork. Go back to the stream. Student got the quiz assigned. Student's going to open the quiz, and the student is going to answer the questions for me. And they can see that it's worth 1 point. They can see it's worth 4 points. They press submit. Notice that they have no option to resubmit it, to change it, like some of the forms that have been sent to us. If they open it, they may be able to see those answers. No, it actually said the answers are not going to be there until the grades have been released. Okay, back to being a teacher view. I'm now going to hit the responses. I can see one student has sent the responses in. This is a summary of what the number of respondents and so on. It's showing all the people's email addresses. Oh, one other thing that I should have said to you, and you'll see this when I get to the individual ones, you can look at this by question also, each question at a time. I like the individual responses. The very, very first question that I would ask is, what is your name? Because it collected the email address, but it did not collect their name. So what is your name is your first question on your Google form quiz. You can see that the score is not released. You could release the score right now individually if you want. You can see this person got the first question. Well, I don't think I actually know correct answers. I believe I forgot to click that. I'm going to jump back for a second. Sorry about that. My questions. I didn't put the right answer in. The answer key, you would click, of course, the right answer. I neglected to do that. Not sure if that's going to update. Yep, so it updated. The correct answer is B. The student got 0 on that. Now, if this was a paragraph question, I, of course, want to be able to give them the points manually. And it says edits are pending. I would press save. And now that student's whole assignment is corrected. The only way to see the student's assignment is to do this, and I can toggle through. I can't show you that as an example right now because I only have one. I will jump back to another one so you can see me having more responses. Let me just find an assignment that I did that has more assignment. Okay, I'll choose this one. So here is the assignment. I opened it. I'm going to edit. It's loading. I'm going to responses. I have 2 responses. I'm going to individual, and you will notice that I have the first student's whole answer, and I can toggle over to the next one and look at the next student's answers. Now, if you really, really do want to have individual copies of this, the only thing that I have come up with is you press the print button. And I don't really want to print it, but in destination, you hit save as a PDF, and you can save that, and it's going to save to your computer, and you would have to drag that into your Google Drive. Otherwise, all the responses are held within the form itself in this manner. So you could release the score right here, or we could go back to this assignment, and I could click on it on one of the numbers and come back to this view. I can import the grades. So once you've graded each of those on the Google form, you can go import grades, import, and it's going to put the numbers over here for you. My students didn't do very well. They only got 1 out of 5 and 1 out of 5. So again, I can't click individually here. Importing the grades over here is only going to just put them in a quick view form so that you can put the values into PT Pro for yourself. So that is the difference. So again, the difference between a Google quiz, when it's a Google form, you can't click. You have to go through the form to get to the answers. But when it is a regular assignment, oops, I clicked the wrong thing when I did that. When it is a regular assignment, you can actually click on these individually and open each student's assignment. So I can see this and can see what they did for this assignment. And again, you can cycle through them in that way. Okay, I'm just going to think back a couple of things that I've missed. Grades is another way to look for the things that you have assigned. So this, in the grades, it will put everything there. You can click on any of these and it will take you to that view that we were looking at with all of the students' work. And it's a nice way to be able to get your values into PT Pro or your marks into PT Pro. So that's one thing. The People tab, you can add other teachers. You can add the students here if you want through their email instead of giving them the invite code like we did if they weren't in the class. You can invite the guardians. All inviting the guardians is going to do, it's going to ask you for their email, and it will send an email to the parent saying that you have requested to the invitation to the classroom. But unless they're not going to get anything, again, back to, I just did that kind of quickly, back to this settings cog, they're not going to get anything unless you have turned on guardian summaries. That's all they're going to get. Those guardian summaries, and you can hit that see example there to see what the summary looks like. So this is just an example from Google itself that they're just going to get what the student's missing, what's due. They do not have access to your Google Classroom when you do that. So I'm just looking at my notes to see what I may or may not have gone over with you. Maybe if we'll go to some questions. If anybody has any specific questions that they would like to ask me, it might remind me to go over some things with people. Let's leave that open for a sec.
Hi, Leanna.
Hi, Peter.
Hi, thank you so much for doing this because I know how hard it is to talk to a computer screen. But do you mind going back to where you had your banner and how you did what you inserted with your banner?
Sure, I can do that over again.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll do this from the very beginning. I am still sharing my screen. Yep. Okay, so what I did with my banner is, I'm going to go back to my main screen. I have to make the banner first, so I don't really need to be in Google Classroom. Sorry, my computer just seems to suddenly be lagging as I'm trying to show you this. I'm going to go to my new tab. Are you seeing a new tab now? Yeah. Okay, Dory's saying, sorry, where will we find this recording? Oh, I'll show you that too. I'm going to do that right away, and then I'll get back to the banner. Everybody, on the launch page, I'm saying that I have some videos. On the launch page, you have a CBVRC tech integration how-to right here. If you click that, it takes it to a particular page on my web page where I have lots of things listed. The online teaching these are all drop down. There's online teaching here, which people have been using a lot of. It kind of puts everything in steps, how to get your students connected, how to do your virtual classroom communications, how to create, or some ideas of creating an e-learning environment. Here's a great one, turning PDFs into digital worksheets. If you have old PDFs that you want to take a picture of, or you just have PDFs in your drive, you can take an image of that PDF and insert little tables, one-by-one tables, and the students can actually write in it, and you can add those in as assignments. So lots of information there. That was just in one section of it. Again, it takes you to this how-to for Google. They're just kind of organized with all of my Google Classroom videos and so on, and then Google Jamboard, Google Meet. So that's how you get it right from the launch page. So back to, I'm going to open a new tab, and I'm going to go to my Google Drive. And I'm going to go new, Google Slide. And you can get it lots of different ways. That's just the way I'm opening it. So the very first thing it's going to give you is this, and it always has this click to add title. I don't like that one. So right away, I don't need a theme because I'm going to kind of create my own theme. The very first thing I'm going to do is go to this little drop down, and I'm going to choose the one that says blank because I don't like that click to add title. So choose blank. I'm going to go up to the number 1 slide, and I'm going to delete it. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the size. So I'm going to go, and you'll be doing this if you're creating your PDFs also, because you want to make your Google slide the size of a piece of paper. So for the banner, we're going to go to File, Page Setup. It defaults to 16 by 9. We want to go to Custom. So we go to Custom, and if you were going to do the background going to be a PDF, you would choose 8.5 by 11. The size for a banner is, I looked this up, so it's 16.67. It said by 4.17. So I changed that and I apply, and you can see it will change the size for me. Now, we don't want to insert a picture, and that's the mistake that a lot of people make. Well, you could insert a picture here. It doesn't really matter. But if you were doing the PDF thing, you'd want to not insert a picture here. You'd want to insert a background. This is where I like to change the color. So you can change to any color here. You can change to a gradient if you want. You can make, at this point, it's just you making the slide as pretty as you want. So at here, you would go text box. You put it wherever you want. I don't know why my text box isn't working. Again, computer seems to be slowing down all of a sudden. There we go. Nope, gone again. There we go. I had a couple of them there now. Okay, so you have lots of fonts that you can change. You can change the size, click on it for faster. You can just drag anything you want and write your class name in there. Now, Bitmojis are a different story. I tried to show this to a teacher in school to put your own Bitmoji in. You will notice, I'm not sure if you guys can see, but I have a really tiny little icon up here. It's green. It's my Bitmoji icon. You have to sign in or sign up for Bitmoji before you can do this, and you add Bitmoji as an extension in your Google Classroom. So we have a little tiny puzzle up here, and you can see all your extensions. Now, my Bitmoji one, I can click, but I couldn't do it in the classroom. You will notice that mine will come up, and I could drag in anything that I want. Here, I'll send you guys lots of hearts, and you can resize it and so on. So you can do that. But if you're in the school, it's part of Snapchat, so it's blocked. So you can't do it. So you'd have to make your banner at home, just so you know. So after that, so we have our picture, you have it all lovely. You get to the point, we should probably name it. I'll just name it class. At that point, we're going to go File. We're going to go Download as a JPEG. So click it. Now, again, I'm on a Mac. It shows up in different places. So I have Save As. Some of them save automatically. I have mine turned off on so that I don't have it saved automatically. So I'm going to press Save. You're going to notice it popped down the bottom here. Well, not yet for you guys, I don't think. But there it goes. It pops down the bottom. If it doesn't, it's okay. You can just say Insert from your computer. Okay, so now that you have it made and you have it downloaded to your computer, you're going to go back to a Google Classroom, anyone that you're there. I'm going to go back to all of my classes, and I'm going to pick one that hopefully people aren't going to see me throwing kisses, so I'll just do this one for now. You're going to go Upload Photo, and I could drag it. Where this one says class right here, I could just drag it up there, or you can say select photo from your computer. And there it is, class, and press open. And then you can do a little bit of sizing if you want. and select class theme, and it will switch it over. And see, it is a little shadowy, and you can't change that because, again, it is behind the words that are defaulted there. So that's all we can do with that. So Peter, hopefully that answered your question. No way to brighten it up, George. Sorry. You can brighten it up for a moment. There is a little fix that you could go in and actually get into the HTML code and brighten it to look at it, but it won't stay that way. Every time you reopen it, it fogs up again. Okay, so I have a couple of questions here. Oh, email notifications, I can talk about that. And before that, Alicia says, in a quiz assignment, does locked mode on Chromebooks toggle mean that students will not be able to leave the quiz? Yeah, that's what it means. So they can't get anywhere else except that quiz. I've not done it myself. Exactly, so no searching. I haven't used it myself, but that is the intent of that, so that the students can't get out of it once they open it. Juanita's saying I get email notifications for every assignment. So we are going to go back to this 3 to get rid of your notifications, the hamburger on the left-hand side. If you click it, scroll all the way down the bottom, and you'll see the cog settings. So click settings, and you can turn them off completely if you want. You have lots of different things that you can say. You can turn off the stuff that your classes that you're enrolled in, and there's all the way down the bottom, you can click again, and you can turn the notifications off for individual classes that you're in there. So that was options that were all the way over in the hamburger. If you're in this section, hamburger, all the way down to the bottom, and that's where your archived classes are also. So thank you all so much for coming, and I hope you got something out of it, and good luck with the rest of the week and all of your professional development.